Welcome to the Milt Talk Legacy Builders podcast, a place where Milt can connect to one another to inspire, motivate, and collaborate to continue to build a strong and well-connected alumni association. I believe that the Milton Hershey School rebranding is actually just getting started, and I want to be part of that journey. I think the best way to commemorate Milton and Catherine Hershey is to start our own legacy that impacts the world as Milton Hershey so impacted us. I believe the level of extraordinary that each and every Milt carries within them is deeply underestimated, and this podcast will help in the journey to show off what Milts are really made of. I'm excited to get to know more Milts, more insight to their upbringing, what they're doing now to build their legacy and bring value to others, and what being a Milt really means to them. Today, I'm speaking with Mia Scavella Little, class of 2003. Mia joined Microsoft in 2018 and is currently corporate counsel in the digital crimes unit. Prior to working at Microsoft, Mia was an Arabic and digital network exploitation analyst with the US federal government. Mia has more than 15 years of industry experience in both the private and public sector. One of her goals is to use her knowledge and experience to help the private sector and the US government navigate the intersection between national security law and emerging technology. Mia is a board member of Legal Hope and a huge advocate of pro bono work that aids victims of domestic violence. Incredible story, to say the least, Mia, and welcome to the Milt Talk Legacy Builders podcast. Thank you so much for being my guest. Wow. Yes. So I talked about this a little bit earlier before I started recording. My first question to you is, when did you first get to Milton Hershey?
Oh, so I think I got to Milton Hershey in 6th grade. So starting middle school.
Okay.
Yeah, that was, I believe that was it. I was 11 or 10.
Okay. Yeah, I got there in 6, I was 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's so funny because before even jumping on the podcast with you, like when we were communicating back and forth, I still didn't know that we were in Deer Park together. Like once we jumped on and you told me that today, that was like the first I even remembered that we were in there together. So thank you for reminding me of this. What was that 7th grade year for me? So was that your first, was that your 6th grade year while I was in 7th grade?
7th grade, it definitely was, yeah.
Wow, and you have better memory than I do. That's nuts, for sure.
Yeah, it was amazing. It definitely left an impression. Like, I was so happy to meet you that year. It was amazing.
Yeah, I know. I honestly, some of the stuff that you said inspired me so much because I didn't know that, and I didn't know that to that degree either, and that makes me feel so good because it reminds me of the impact that we all have on people, whether we know it or not. Like so many people have actually now in adulthood told me about like remembering how I used to flip the shoes over, and I honestly could tell you that was one of the hardest things to constantly have to do because I would get bullied over it. I would get made fun of. Like some girls would be so mean to like flip all the shoes up, and then watch me and laugh and blah, blah, blah. And, the fact that I had to do it. But some of those same girls now in adulthood came back and be like, I remember you doing that. And that was super cool.
It was.
And I'm like, wow. So all that torment, at least it was for something good later,
I still have my shoes right side up. I'm like, I could not let it go the other way around. We cannot show that.
That is so awesome. That's crazy. And I know you said you traveled all around the world, and I can't wait to talk to you about that. But I'm curious, when you went to Morocco, was that something that you saw in anywhere in Morocco or in any other Arab country? Did you see that same behavior?
The shoe flip? Oh yeah. Oh my
okay.
Gosh, yeah.
I was like, I wonder if it's just my family, but
no,
mom would tell me it's all Arabs or all Muslims, but yeah.
You totally inspired that journey, and there was definitely a lot of shoe flipping. But by the time I got to Morocco, I had it on point. Like I had it on lock. My stuff was right. So
that's so awesome. So you got to Milton Hershey, you were 10 or 11, 6th grade. Did you have any other family that came to Milton Hershey, or?
It was just me.
Okay. Yeah. And do you have siblings?
I do, but they're all halves and none of them went to Milton Hershey. So I didn't really know them growing up.
Yeah. And where'd your mom and your dad, did you live with your mom and your dad, or just your mom or your dad?
Just kind of my mom or my aunt, but.
Yeah. And where did they live when you got to Milton Hershey? Where'd they come from?
They were in Philadelphia at the time, but I actually went to Zahraa College, another boarding school, before I went to Milton Hershey.
I didn't know that. And what was that like?
That was more like prison, but it like group showers and stuff, because they had like one little thing that would like spout out in like 6 or 7 different directions, and we all had to like shower together and someone would watch. And
Wow. Where was that?
that was Philadelphia.
Oh my goodness. I've never even heard of that boarding school.
Oh
How long were
yeah.
you there?
I was there for quite a few years. I got there pretty young, and like they were able to do corporal punishment, so like beat us, and like
Oh my goodness.
yeah, we had to like the same uniform, and like it was that was rough. Walking a line.
Wow. Wow, you might be the first person that I talked to that had been in another boarding school that before Milton Hershey. And what a terrible experience. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like being in a bad foster home.
Yes.
Wow, that's nuts. So what was the transition? How did your mom or your aunt find out about Milton Hershey to then get you out of that one and into Milton Hershey?
So I think because like throughout college at that time, they didn't want to keep us on the weekend, maybe because of funding issues.
Wow.
At that time, my family couldn't provide. So she was like, we need to find a place that actually provides during the weekend in the summer.
Yeah.
And so that's how she started looking and found it. So
Wow. That's awesome.
it
So
is.
glad they found it. Yeah. And Milton Hershey, also very tough experience, obviously, but probably didn't compare to that experience.
It did.
Wow. So in Milton Hershey, did you do any sort of sports or other activities?
Yeah. So I played field hockey and I did wrestling with Robin Williams. So yeah, it was good. It was, and I did
That's
pole vault
so
actually,
awesome.
but only for 1 year. I wasn't that great. So
Okay. Field hockey was so hard. So hard. I think I tried it like once or twice, and each
you
time
did.
I hated it.
You
Yeah.
did.
I was like, this is just not for me. I can't, if I get hit in the shin one more time, like I
You
couldn't.
did.
And the discipline of it, like I had admiration for all of you guys who stuck with it because it is hard. All that running, like running low like that. I couldn't. Yeah. Honestly, all sports for me was tough as far as like the discipline and sticking to it, like the
Oh
commit.
yeah.
I had issues with that. I wasn't such a good committer.
Right.
Dedication of it. Yeah. Unless it was like super fun, Otherwise, I was like, I wasn't a like team player athlete. It takes a lot to be a part of that. But I always, again, I had admiration for people who did, because that I was missing that. I think
Yeah.
before, did the other boarding school have sports or anything?
I don't remember. It was really militant. I don't feel like we had anything.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. That's tough. So so you were saying earlier that a lot of the time that you spent with me at Deer Park helped inspire what you decided to do
Oh
after
yeah.
Milton Hershey. So tell me more about that.
It was pretty amazing. I was like, okay, this person speaks Arabic. This person you love to dance. Like you were doing belly dancing and stuff. And then you had like the shoe thing, you would block the door when you were praying, which I was just like, what is happening? And that was really inspirational to me because I felt like it all felt positive to me though. Like, so it was a really good thing. And so when I got to college, I was like, I need to learn this language. I need to learn more about this culture. It's so beautiful. Like the food, the music, everything, the movies, which are super dramatic, especially out of Egypt.
Yeah,
But
we
yeah, I
sure
was like
are.
totally inspired by you. So when everyone asks me, they're like, why'd you study Arabic? They're like, is it 9/11? I'm like, no, that was one of my roommates.
Wow,
And I
that
just
is
give the
so
whole story.
that is so awesome. And again,
Yeah,
I didn't know to that degree, but I feel so good that I was part of that journey for you. That's so cool.
it
Did
was
you did
beautiful.
you ever hear or know about Arabic before that?
Um, Not really. And I remember meeting your mom and her basically yelling at y'all in Arabic, but it seemed like so passionate and out of love, right? Like it was all positive.
Yeah,
And so I wanted that in my life. So
that's so cool. Yeah, our culture is very, it's a strong culture for sure, like very strong, but so hospitable. Like that's
mhm,
one thing I do love that I take from my culture is like I love being hospitable to people, feeding them, taking care of them, like making it a good homey environment kind of thing. I think that
yeah,
that my mom passed that to me a lot.
mhm,
The shoe thing definitely was a tough one. Yeah, she helped us a lot with that though. Like till this day, I don't like shoes flipped upside down like that, and I don't like food to be on the floor. That was another thing.
yeah,
Food on the floor or a Quran or a Bible or anything like that on the floor is like
yeah.
we're all about principle. Like this should be
Yeah.
high up, it should not be on the floor. Yeah, little things like that. And it's stuck with me all my life now.
And with mine, apparently, because it was just amazing. And I remember being in Morocco and I stayed with a single mom with two kids. And she was like, men might be the head of the families, but women are the neck. And we know exactly how to turn
That's
and
so
guide them.
funny.
It
My
was so
mom
amazing.
is the same exact thing. That is cool. I guess that's an Arabic expression too, that because I've never heard that
Yep.
outside of an Arab saying that. That's
Yep.
awesome. But it's
Amazing.
very true. It's true. We help to guide. I think women in general help to kind of guide the emotional, long lasting decisions that happen in
Yep.
families and stuff like that. Yeah, that's great. That's cool. So where are you from? What is your background? Like ethnicity? Where were you born in the States?
Yeah, so I was born in the States. I didn't know my father well, but I got to know him about him later because he passed away.
Mhm.
But he is Latino, which is really cool. I just reconnected with my brother after 17 years, and I learned that. I did do ancestry, but it doesn't pick up, I guess, everything. You have to have a male person to get whatever you're missing from your DNA. So my brother told me, like, he filled in the rest of it. So that was pretty amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. And were you born in Pennsylvania?
I was born in Virginia. Both of my parents were in the military.
Oh, wow, they were both in the military. What branch?
Navy. I was born 9 months before my brother, who I just reconnected with. So I guess we're like Irish twins or whatever they call it.
Yeah, that's so cool. And look at you now. You're working within the government and such a niche area, like you said. And that is such a powerful area. I read in there now that you're working in the digital crimes unit.
Mhm.
I mean, digital crime is probably the I would say the highest level of crime right now that happens more than we know about, because it's, I mean, between hacking and cyber crime and sooner or later, I'm sure it's already happening now, but we don't get to hear about it. Cyber terrorism, all
Oh
kinds
yes.
of. And
And it's pretty entrepreneurial, at least at my company, because my boss actually started this department. He felt like there was a need for us to be a little bit more proactive, where we saw folks using our products and services for bad things. And so
yeah,
he was like, let's look at child exploitation. Let's look at this. And why are we letting it stay on our networks? Like, why aren't we combating this? And so that's where we came into play. And I'm helping him with that effort.
that is so awesome. Wow.
Mhm.
Okay. So we're gonna get back to that. I'm gonna start from the beginning. So when you graduated Milton Hershey, what was your next step? Did you go straight into college?
I did. I went straight into college. We were all in the gym and we had to run to our first, like, where we thought we wanted to major, because we
Okay.
didn't really have like a good computer system then. And I ran straight to the Arabic table with like 50 other people and they only had room for 10.
Wow.
So yeah, it was
That's so
amazing.
cool. And what college did you end up going to?
I went to Middlebury College and then I was an Arabic major and then I went to Johns Hopkins to learn something that would help me, which was basically I got a master of science in computer science. So I was just trying to like take it to the next level because I feel like language will always help you, but I needed something a little bit else, like to
Wow.
take it to the next level.
You got to be extremely highly intelligent. I mean, just to
Yeah.
study a different language, and especially a very difficult language like Arabic, and then to get into, analyst, exploitation analyst. That is, I'm pretty sure if you've ever tested your IQ, I'm pretty sure it's like through the roof.
I think I
Oh,
also just had the
yeah.
passion though. And I think learning Arabic could have been harder, but because I love the music and the movies and all that stuff, I love reading. That really helped. So
Oh, that's great. I'm trying to make sure I pass Arabic down to my daughter, but I'm not doing a good job. But now, like, you're inspiring me now because I want her to have the language. I want her to be bilingual. And I mean, who better to teach you than at home? People
so
go
amazing.
overseas to learn. And I could be talking to her daily, making my Arabic stronger, giving her a second language. So now, yeah, you're inspiring me to get back to it. I remember it and then I forget again. And then I
Yeah,
remember it. Yeah. So absolutely, it's so important. It's
yeah, I
so important.
agree.
Yeah. So after college, then what? What was your next step?
So I went to work for the federal government and I loved it. I was like, okay, I'm using Arabic. I can go to the Middle East. I can eat all the food I want. Like,
Yeah, the
but
food.
Snowden came out during like while I was with my first employer, and I was like, oh my gosh, what's happening with the government? Like, are we doing something that's bad? And so I decided to go to law school to figure it out because I hate 100% relying on the media to educate me.
Yeah.
And so I decided to go to law school at night, which was brutal, but I had to learn for myself what was happening if it was okay. So
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing that you see something like that. And instead of, you know, being in fear or like just taking in whatever info is flying at you from all these probably not good sources, you were like, you know what, let me just invest my time and energy
oh
and
yeah.
figure it out for myself. Did you ever have any plan of law school before that?
So I actually did want to go to law school to be a criminal lawyer, like maybe a prosecutor, defense attorney. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
But as soon I graduated in 2007, and they were like, do not go to law school. The market's crashing. Like, this is not going to work out unless you're independently wealthy. Like, do not
Yeah.
make this investment. And
Yeah.
I really, at the time, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't think I can do it. But then I was like, wow, that was really smart. Like, the industry did crash.
Yeah.
Like, people had so much debt. And so
Yeah.
I'm happy I listened to them, and I went back with definitely more focus after having some life experience.
Yes, yeah, that's good. And
Mhm.
sometimes, especially to come to tackle a degree like that, you need
Yeah.
life experience to help you,
Yeah.
with what you're about to experience with this very difficult degree. Because law school is
Mhm.
not easy, and I think it
Right.
does take a specific level of maturity that you get only through a certain age.
Mhm.
So that's good that you did listen and it allowed you to have that time
Oh
to
yeah.
mature and grow up a little bit more. Yeah, that's great. And law school, how long was that for you? Was that 4 years?
Yes, it was 4 years every night, Monday through Friday from like 6 to 10
Wow.
after work. So
Wow.
like don't recommend if you don't have to, but like it
God,
was brutal, but I was so determined. I was like, I can't just quit. Like this, I gotta do this.
that's awesome. And what kind of work were you doing during the day during that time?
I was doing a lot of Arabic work and like open source intelligence, trying to get people actually to understand culture within the Middle East. And not take such a negative spin on it because there's so much beauty. There's so much beauty. And so I was like that maybe cheesy person, like in the office, who always bring out
Yeah.
the positive in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what he did.
Wow, that's great. That's so, I really can't, I could wrap my brain around it, but it's just so beautiful that you got into something so like unique and
Yeah.
specific. And especially after 9/11, like I don't, not a lot of people knew what Arab was. Like the
Yeah.
Middle East was very not known. Islam, was not very well known until 9/11 happened. And then it kind of put a spotlight on it. And then
Hmm.
with that spotlight came so much ignorance because,
Yes.
again, not many people didn't know anything except now what the media was teaching.
Yep.
I remember at that time, I think it was my 10th or 11th grade year. 9/11 happened in 2000, right? It was
2001. Yeah.
2000. Was it 2000 or 2001? It was
2001. Yeah.
2001. So I was in 11th grade when it
Hmm.
happened, and I was working at like KFC, for our little, whenever we could have a job. I remember I was working at KFC, and I remember I was like making the sandwiches and stuff, and a lady had come in and they ordered whatever. I make their sandwiches and we put it in the bag and stuff. And I saw the lady like talking to the manager, and then the manager comes back to me and he's like, let me get you on a different station. And he put me like all the way in the back making the mashed potatoes. And I'm like, I never am back here making the mashed potatoes or anywhere back here doing this stuff. I'm always doing the stuff up front. And I'm like, what happened? And he's like, oh, well, that, lady kind of complained. She just doesn't want you making her food. And I'm like, oh, this is that. So I'm like, this is dumb. I'm not going to be back here in the hotness making these mashed potatoes. I'm going to go back up, yeah.
Yeah.
So I came back up front, and the lady's like, excuse me, I'm going to need my food remade. I don't want that one touching my food. And I'm just like, why? And she's like, you Arabs. And I'm just like, what? And I still, at that time, didn't know that she was making that correlation between 9/11 and me. That was the very first time it was like directed at me. And I was like, oh, okay. That's why, So that was actually the first time I experienced any sort of racism, which is crazy. Yeah. I mean, I experienced it growing up in South Central, the Hispanics didn't like the Arabs didn't like the Hispanics didn't like the Black people didn't like the Hispanic. All of that, I experienced it, but I was so young. And
Right.
now a lot of it was like directed at me, except especially by an adult like that and so public. So that was like a necessary experience, but I was like, wow. But I saw the complete ignorance around the culture. Like, you guys didn't
It's
even know what
terrible.
we were before this. And now it's like, yeah. People
Yeah.
would be like, where are you from? Cereal? I'm like, Syria.
Uh,
Yeah. It was just so like
wow.
ignorant. But we were all, I think at that time, we were all so ignorant to culture and ethnicity,
Hmm.
period. Like, we
True.
weren't really taught how to embrace it on Milton Hershey. We didn't know how to embrace diversity as a whole, let alone our culture or anything like that. We were
Yeah.
just kind of like that. And I hope that is different now for the youth. And
Me
I think it
too.
is. Yeah, I
I
feel like
hope
it
so.
is, because social media is now helping to like show off your culture, and
Diversify. Yeah.
yeah, and kids are embracing that. I see like these little 12-year-olds dressing up in their culture, or they're doing their little dance, which is so interesting. So I think society as a whole, with the help of social media, is helping people embrace their culture a little bit more and teach it to others, which is great.
I hope
Before,
so.
we hardly saw stuff like that.
I agree.
So I think
Wow.
that, yeah, it's all work in progress. I think now people forgot about Arabs for a while. Now it's
Me
like,
too.
you know what I mean? Like, now the racism is back on African Americans. Then you have, these Asians that are being attacked everywhere, which is
So,
so crazy to me.
I
Like,
cannot even understand it.
I
It's just
can't understand it.
right. It's
I
bizarre.
cannot understand it. Yeah. And it's so important that people like you get into such small niches of areas that people don't really focus on, because those will be the areas next that people will be talking about 50 years from now, that are like, we should have been focusing on that earlier.
Yeah.
Before it gets crazy. Like, right now you have cyberbullying, which is out of control,
Yes.
completely out of control. You have all kinds of hacking that happens, stealing of people's,
Ransomware.
yeah.
Yeah.
But this cyber terrorism thing is only going to get worse.
Hmm.
So it's these small niches that help, like, teach people, help people figure this stuff out before it figures us out first.
Right. I
Like,
agree.
we're playing catch up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So after your law degree, what did you, during this time when you were working, were you traveling yet?
Yeah, so I was deploying at the same time. So I was like a hot mess. Like, I was late to class. I missed several classes, but they were they were so flexible and supportive of me, which thankfully. But yeah, I was required to like go to the Middle East quite often. And so I did miss quite a bit of my first year, but I still managed to pull it off and stick with it. So
And that's so awesome. I think that is a quality that so many Milts have. Like, we are so like bendable, flexible.
yeah.
We will stretch ourselves, just make things happen. We have
Yeah.
such grit, like, so many Milts I've talked about, where the average person would not be able to make something like that happen. Like, the average person, it's one or the other, they'll quit this, whatever. But a Milt is so relentless and so
Hmm.
resilient, that we have done and been through such hardcore, like you said, like, it was hard, but that determination was like, nope, I'm gonna
Yes,
make it happen. I don't care what it takes. Yes. And that
I
is such a
agree.
strong quality. Again, I hear younger people talk these days, and they're so overwhelmed by college, and they don't even have a job, and they're just doing classes, and they're so overwhelmed. And I'm just like, are you
What is
kidding me?
happening? I know.
This is cake. If I could have just gone to school and that's all, that's my job, that's my whole thing, and just get through class, man,
Must be nice.
that must be so nice. Like, we juggled 3, 4, 5 different things:
So true.
full-time school, full-time work, because who else was paying for our
Yes.
schooling, our books, or this, outside of the scholarship that we got? Like, we came from poverty to go to such a prestigious school to graduate. That poverty that we came from never changed. It's not like
Right.
our family became rich while we were there, like, we still came out and had to to
Yes.
hustle and grind, you know, we did
I
not
worked
have
so many
go
jobs in
after.
college. Yes.
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Yeah, our resiliency only got stronger after that because we still had no safety net.
Right.
Yeah.
100%. Ah, that
Yeah.
feeling.
Yes. Wow. So once you got your degree, then what?
So I was still working and I was like, I need to find someone who's going to hire me as a lawyer, which is really tough because I wanted to do work that mattered. And I loved working on Middle East initiatives, especially since I felt like I was spreading positivity.
Yeah.
And I feel like we could be blinded by the acts of like one or more terrorists, right? Not think about the big picture or think outside of the box. And so I actually ended up, well, actually, when Trump came in, I did leave the government because I didn't want to work for him. I
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
And so that's actually when I went to Microsoft and I was like, okay, do I have an opportunity here? I flew out here to Seattle and just gave my best. I started as an engineer,
Okay.
security engineer. And then I talked to the president of our company and I was like, hey, I would love to work as a lawyer as well. I have this background. I think this fusion of things, like speaking languages, because Microsoft is global. I was like, I can help with like our Middle East folks. I can help with people in Latin America. And he was like, sure, you can be a lawyer here if you want to. And so now that's why digital crimes makes a lot of sense because we're actually analyzing like servers and like reverse engineering things. And we're trying to make our arguments, our legal arguments, and we have to actually make it to different markets, like in the Middle East, for why certain things shouldn't happen. So, yeah.
Wow. That's so incredible. And it's so smart. Like it's so high tech that it's hard for even my brain to understand. So what are some of the examples of the things that you guys fight against?
So right now I'm on the malware team, but it's anyone who's like, okay, let's go into like the cloud and I don't know, let's fish people or spam people or kind of push child pornography on people. And we really go to combat that. We have investigators who detect it. And once we find it, we take it to the courts to get rid of it, right? Like it's basically a restraining order against it. We'll take down domains. We'll make sure that certain host providers don't host these sites or these malicious actors who actually allow these people to continue to engage in child pornography. Like if we see it, we're going to stop it. End story, right? And so that's something that I'm really passionate about. It's like making a difference there. It's a company that's not ignoring the issue. So I love that.
That's so awesome. And honestly, like it's now more than ever, child pornography and anything like that on the internet is such a terror. I mean, you talk about terrorism, that is terrorizing our children's safety.
Yeah.
Like that, it's like a drug where they say like this is a gateway drug to this. Pornography of that kind is a safe or is a transition into becoming a pedophile. Like,
and that's what happens though.
The other day you try it. Yeah.
They do set up catfish sites. They'll start with like just sharing it. And then they'll be like, oh, let me take a really nice looking guy, set it up here to lure people in. And like, maybe he like loves cartoons or whatever. So he's going to post about that. So the kid's going to post back. And next thing you know, they're doing a meetup. Right. And so that's the kind of things we try to get well ahead of, right? Like let's even go beyond the child pornography. We can stop it.
Oh my goodness. And this, I'm so glad there are people like you who do this with such passion because it makes such a difference, especially now with all this human trafficking that's happening. People, again, these are the issues that are not being exploited enough. Like, yeah, they're being exploited. People talk about it. You hear it on the news here and there, this and that. But to the rate that is happening is nothing in comparison to the rate that people are talking about it and trying to do stuff against it and, you know, coming together and, you know, really talking about it. I mean, no, I understand people don't want to see stuff like that constantly. It's almost like you want to be blind to seeing it every day because you're trying to protect your brain. I get that. I hate seeing stuff pop up because it depresses me. It makes me scared. Instantly, I fear for my daughter. But there has to be something that is constantly reminding us of what we can do to help stop this or be aware of what's happening. Yeah. And talk about it more.
I agree.
Yeah. Like it's something fundraise towards an agency that is doing something towards this because it is. I, for one, as a mom, I literally fear for my daughter's future every single day. And that's probably because the way I grew up, you know, when you grow up with lots of trauma, you kind of see the world from that perspective. Whereas when you grow up, you know, where you haven't really witnessed so much trauma, you see it in a different perspective. Yeah.
I agree.
I feel like I see the world in a very defensive kind of perspective, which is good and bad. You know, I'm more aware to teach my daughter the streets and different things and how to create boundaries and all of those things, you know. But this cyber stuff is so scary. And I see, and I don't judge, you know, if you want to have an Instagram for your 6-year-old, great. And if you want your 10-year-old to have their own TikTok account, that's fine. I'm not one to judge anyone's parenting style, but I do also understand like the danger, like danger. I've seen documentaries where kids are lured, you know, into doing, and you know, it's so crazy. I'm so glad that I can actually ask someone about this because the sister-in-law I said that you remind me of, she told me a story once of these two, and this is so sad. I apologize for bringing something like this up, but when she told me about it, it rocked my world mentally. And I'm like, how can this even happen? You know, who is stopping this? But she told me about a story that happened in Dubai, because that's where they live, where these two sisters jumped off a building and killed themselves practically. And they were like well-off family, beautiful sisters, super well-off, happy life kind of thing. And they were like 13, 14, something like that. What they found out was these girls had been following this guy on the internet, this idea. It's called the Blue Whale Challenge. And this was maybe like 5 years ago or something like that. And the Blue Whale Challenge is some guy who was out of Russia he started to kind of find kids. He created like this trend on the internet, finding kids. And it's eventually what happens is he exchanges a few emails with you or something like that. Then if he says that you qualify for this challenge with him, then he'll set you up on what it takes. And basically what it is he has a criteria of lonely, sad kids that are missing something in life. Even if it's not money, it's something else. And he gets them on this challenge. So for like 30, 45 days, he has them check in with him at night, and he gives them a challenge. Like, I want you to put on these headphones, listen to this music. And it's like a dark, dark song, very dark. And I want you to cut yourself on your wrist, take a picture and email it to me. And I want to make sure that you've listened to the entire song. That's your first challenge. The next challenge, the next day, is to like find a building, climb to the very top, look over the edge for 30 seconds. The next one is listen to this other song, climb up the building, look over the edge. Weird things. The next one is stay up all night tomorrow, no sleep, 24 full hours of no sleep. You're not allowed to sleep. And the way he checks in is you're online with him the whole time. So he makes sure you're not asleep, and you're building this relationship with this guy in secret. You're keeping it secret from everyone in your life, doing these challenges. And these challenges were designed to depress and isolate the person even further. Dark music, desensitize them to high buildings, stuff like that, looking over the edge, desensitizing that fear. Dark music, slitting your throat, no sleep, staying up for hours. Their serotonin is changing. And then on the 30th or 45th day, your last challenge is to commit suicide, to show your loyalty or whatever. And these kids are doing it. Kids in India, Dubai, like random all over the world, this Blue Whale Challenge was happening. And I think eventually they caught him, arrested him, whatever. But I think when I read the story, it was like 14 kids, Costa Rica. Like, how in the world did someone do this? He didn't have physical access to these kids, but they killed themselves for him and what he was doing. Like, that to me, when she told me that story, I'm like, are any of our kids safe? God, like, I don't even let my daughter, when she's 10, I won't be letting her walk up the street by herself. But now I have to be afraid of her being on the computer at 14 years old, you know, and who she's talking to, like that. that challenge to me was one of the most craziest things I think I've ever heard when it came to like cyber bullying or crime.
It's
And that's the kind of
scary.
stuff, that's the kind of stuff. No, I've asked people, have you heard of that Blue Whale Challenge? And only one person, and that was Rima, and that's because the two girls, it happened in her country. So
Wow, that's terrifying. But and I mean, especially with COVID, kids are actually online a lot more now.
yes,
Parents who try to like limit that, I mean, what are you going to do?
yeah. And they're
Wow.
fighting depression and not being able to see their friends and all of these things. It's just, and you see all these other documentaries of just like cyberbullying at its worst. You know, it's just, yeah, there needs to be more, just like we've always said, there needs to be, more something, whether it's discipline or talk or whatever it is, to help with physical, human, or like face-to-face bullying. Now it's like, yeah, and that hasn't even been solved. It will never be
Great.
solved. Obviously, there will always be some sort of bullying, but now it's like double whammy with this cyber stuff because it's even harder to stop it.
It is, and it's harder to detect it as well.
Yeah.
And I think it's actually hard to get people to even work in these industries because I think people, once they do have kids, or even just once they realize how the world really works, they're just like, I don't want to see this. Like it does make me depressed. And so like I'm okay with seeing a therapist
Yes.
for this, because I am passionate enough about like combating this issue. And some people, they just don't just avoid it altogether, right? Because it is depressing.
Yeah.
And I just take one for the team. I'm like, that's why therapists exist. I'm gonna hit them up every Monday, and here we are.
Yes, absolutely. It is taking one for the team. And I
Mhm.
appreciate you putting yourself in the line of fire mentally and emotionally to be able to
Yeah,
help, combat this in some way. Because
yeah,
the more people who do stuff like that to help, the more we can help at least reduce the amount, because it's only going to get worse. So if we don't
yeah,
have equal power or something fighting against it, it's just going to ravish our, humans are crazy.
yeah.
And the way human trafficking is being monetized right now it's just unbelievable. I really 100% worry for these kids.
Same. Our future. I had a therapist who actually said, if you don't do it, someone else will. And I was like, oh, but then I realized that no one actually stepped up to the plate. And so I started working with that group, Legal Hope, to help victims of domestic violence, especially with COVID, because there was a really large increase of people being abused at home, to include kids. And we had like 3 cases come in, and I was already overwhelmed. And my counselor at the time, who I got a new one, he was like, oh, someone else will cover it. And I watched for months, they just sat there suffering. And I was like, oh my gosh, no one else is going to actually step up to the plate.
Wow.
For whatever reason, they're not going to step up. And I'm like, I got to make room for this. There's no way I can just let the people like stay underneath the bed, the kids crying. There's no way. So yeah, it's really interesting.
That's that's so
Hmm.
it's so sad and it's so true. And that mentality of, oh, someone else will do it is just such a, and I get it. It's some people's coping mechanism to
Yep.
avoid, blinders, can't see it. And I totally understand, don't judge it. But the fact that you choose not to do that is incredible.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is. And I'm so glad you chose the route of mental health and therapy, because it's so, we all need it.
we do.
We all absolutely need someone to release all of these things to, whether
Yeah.
sometimes family and friends is just not enough, because there needs to be someone qualified to
Yes.
walk you through some of this stuff. Yeah.
Hmm.
'Cause I know 100% for me, it is so hard for me to see that stuff. Like
Hmm.
instantly I hear something about a child getting hurt, and like the choked upness is up to my chin. Like I just feel it all the way up here. My body tenses and I just feel
Yeah.
so afraid and almost hopeless for my daughter's future. So the fact that I know there's people like you out there fighting it and caring makes me feel like less hopeless, because that hopeless feeling is so hard as a
Yeah.
parent. Like you just feel so not, and not in control, because I like
Yeah.
can't protect her forever,
So true.
but yeah, just the more education, the more awareness,
Hmm.
the more we teach our kids are so grown. We think that they can't handle certain things and certain information. They absolutely can, and they will
Yeah.
be better off for it. You know,
100%. Hmm.
yeah, wow. So 2018, you've been with Microsoft since then, and the pro bono work, that's amazing. First of all,
Yeah.
domestic violence is another. issue that I think needs so much spotlight on, especially when it affects the kids. I mean,
Mhm.
especially now during COVID, like you said, I mean, it's probably skyrocketed, I'm sure. The stress,
Yeah,
people being home, all of that. Yeah.
especially of minorities. And the one thing, everyone saw the case, I think her name was like Gabby Petito or whatever, the white woman who was like
Yes.
in the
Yeah.
van traveling.
Yeah. Yep.
And of course that case did get a lot of attention because she is white. And
Yeah.
that's what really bothered me, because I was just like,
Yeah.
most of my clients are actually not white like this,
Right.
and they get ignored, and that
Yeah.
really ticks me off. We have
Yes.
so many people here, like either from Afghanistan or wherever, who don't even, they have language barriers, and they're not going to be in the media, right? No one
Yeah.
cares, like, and
Exactly.
that's it's terrible, but yeah, it
It's so
definitely needs more
true. Yeah.
attention.
Yep. And you know what? It's like disgusting that it gets
Mm,
that much attention, and the other 15 people simultaneously that's happening to, and probably on a worse scale, gets zero. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that really bothers me too, because I saw that case, and after a while I'm like, okay, we know he probably killed her and killed himself. Like,
Yes.
why is this such an unsolved mystery? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, when you have like these other people, I just saw a Netflix show yesterday, and it was like a 30-minute documentary, but at least they did the documentary, and it was about this girl named Latasha, and she was a 15-year-old who was shot in the hood by this Asian liquor store owner, and she was shot in the back of the head. She had a carton of orange juice that she was going to bring back to her mom, and $2 in her other hand that was there to pay for that orange juice, and she was shot in the back of the head. Like, and the lady got I think she got 5 months probation, 10 months community service, like no jail time, and she shot a 15-year-old in the back of the head. like like how did this happen, and why is this not being publicized? And this happened
Mhm.
like in 1999, and
Right.
Netflix is just now doing a story on it, and it was like
Wow.
a 30-minute documentary. Like, what in the world? That's just stuff like that. Yeah, the domestic violence too. Unfortunately, I watch a lot of those documentaries. I love crime stuff.
Dang.
But but yeah, it does. It's such a terrible rate. And again, I don't know what it is about society that's like,
Mhm.
we don't want to talk about this every day,
Right.
or they only want to market it to the people, obviously, who do want to see it for whatever
Yep.
reason they have, But
Yep. Only the missing white girl, only the missing whatever. Like, I'm so, that part's wrong.
terrible.
But
Yeah. And you know what else I've learned through being like watching all these documentaries, the way that they assign the reporter to the story is so strategic. Like, you have these just low grade reporters who they attach to these stories that they believe are also low grade. And then you have
mhm.
these high end reporters who are so well known, and they get the
Yeah.
stories like the white lady, like
Mhm.
stuff like that. I feel like this is so unfair. And then this story gets 5 minutes. This one gets a whole 47 minutes. Like, it's just,
Yeah.
it's so unfair.
It
Yeah.
is. I wish I could change it. My organization and I'm on the board for, we are trying to lobby for change within the state. So certain laws that just don't make sense are definitely catered to one race over another, or even a gender. We're trying to lobby for changes to get them to revote and change the law so that we can actually do something. But
Yeah.
that's like near impossible. But we're trying, right?
I
Like,
know. Yeah. It is. And that's where it has to change. It has to change systematically. That's the only way it will change, because otherwise we could talk about it until we're blue in the face. And then as soon as it ends back up in the system, that's how it's going to turn back out again, So it has to be simultaneous. Like, we shed light so hard on it. Like, we're not going to keep doing this awareness until these laws start to change.
yes. Mhm.
But again, if that changing of those legislative laws and the smaller laws, the harder it gets. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's an uphill battle for sure. But these small steps and accomplishments is what make the mountain start to crumble.
I agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
and our vote as well. sometimes you feel like it doesn't matter, but like just definitely look into your representatives and see who you want to vote in the office. And then
Yes.
from there, take it to the next level and like write to them, tell them what you want to see change.
Yeah.
And maybe it's like easier said than done, but like their inbox is open. It's the difference if they actually read it, but like
Right.
we gotta try. So
Yeah, exactly. Instead of like that hopeless, oh, nothing's, we're just gonna go with it. Cause a lot of times we think the fight is so much bigger than our capability, and it's not.
yeah, I
Not.
agree.
Yeah. You have to do the smallest little thing that can make a huge, huge change. Yeah. Like
Mhm.
what you're doing. It's
I
like
hope.
this guy started a whole department that he felt was necessary. And now, look at you guys happening.
My boss is amazing. But yeah,
Awesome.
it's fantastic. But
Yeah.
yeah. And again, we need to get out of the mindset like if you don't do it, someone else will, because I'm not sure that's
Yeah.
true, right? And I had to get rid of a therapist as a result of that because I would have done nothing. I would have been part of the problem, right? Just watching it happen. Like
Because it's a defeatist mentality. If I'm
Mhm.
not, somebody else will. Like that's already like, all right, I'm defeated. I'm not going to try. Someone else will probably do it. Like
And
no.
if everyone says that, can you imagine? Like,
Yes. My husband and I always say this to ourselves. If it's going to be, it's up to me. And that's the mentality that everybody needs to
I
have.
love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like and we're not saying you're going to make this whole huge change all by yourself. No, but like you will make your part, and then someone else will make their part, and so, but at least you did your part. And that's that you didn't pass your part to someone else who now has to do your part and the part
Yep.
that they want to do. Yeah. It's like
Ah,
passing the buck. Don't pass the buck.
right.
Deal with your part, see what you can do. If you can't do this much, do this much.
That's I love that because my therapist would say before I fired him, you're not going to change the world, this and that. And I'm like, yeah, but I made a difference to that person and
Yes.
that one person. And I'm not trying to change the world. Like I know like I can't do everything, but I'm making a difference to that one person, right? And that means a lot to me.
Yeah.
So
So glad
yeah.
you got a therapist. Yeah. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
the way that your brain and your passion and I think your character work, you need someone who is going to keep throwing belief in you
Right.
when you're naturally mentally and tired. You need that person who's going to keep catering to that passion that you already have instead of putting it out, because
Right.
you have a really incredible fire in you that not a lot of people have.
It's like blowing out my flame. Like let
I
me blow
know,
it out
like,
my
what are you doing smoldering my flame? Like, get out of here, like go smolder your own. I got my flame going. I need you to fan it, like fan. That's great. Wow. So what do you think is next? Like, what do you see in the next 10 years? What are some of the goals you want to accomplish?
um I think I'm really good with making a difference for like again that one person at a time. And at my company, I know I can make a bigger difference with taking down domains that harbor like basically internet sites that harbor child pornography or phishing and malware and all that stuff. But I think I really just want to continue to give back,
Yeah.
which is doing legal work for free.
Yeah.
And I think I also want to try to find some therapists who also give back because a lot of my clients, victims of domestic violence, actually don't have a therapist they can like go to because they freaking cost too much. Like I'm like, can I find one person who wants to give back to someone? And so I ended up doing like a lot of talks with them afterwards, right? Like whether they're like have a black eye or whatever, and they want to talk about it, or they call me in the middle of the night, and I'm like, I would love to have someone who'd like to team with me to give back. Like you don't have to do it all the time, but I do find that that's really hard. So that's one of my goals is to find a group of therapists or even just one person who doesn't mind. But I think giving back is going to be a part of it. I'm enjoying my current job for now, and I think it's probably only going to get more complex. So I feel
Yeah.
like I'm in a good spot. Love
Yeah.
Seattle. It's beautiful.
It
So
is.
yeah,
That's so awesome. Yeah. And you've only just started your roots there,
yeah,
but you have so much more work to do there and really like get yourself grounded and before you move on to the next thing. Yeah. And you know what? A while ago, I started a webinar with just Milts. It was just 4 Milts,
yeah.
where I got 4 panelists who were all licensed therapists that were on the panel, and they were all Milts. And it was to
Wow.
do like a 4-part webinar to talk about different traumas. We did one on relationships and different things that we thought would be extremely helpful to Milts. So many Milts are licensed therapists.
Wow.
Angie, yeah, Angie. I talk to her very regularly. We're in a Bible group together. She does phenomenal therapy work. I have to say,
That's
Angie
great.
is probably one of the best therapists I've ever came into encounter with. I have to say, and I'm not just saying that because she's a Milt. And I told her this, like she has
Yeah.
such a gift, and she's so young to be so good and gifted
Right.
therapy. Like it's
So beautiful.
incredible. Yeah. Alfonso, another licensed therapist,
Oh,
he's doing phenomenal things. He's been on radio shows now, and he's working with so many other nonprofits, really
right.
branding himself. Johnny Alexander,
Oh, wow.
yep, licensed therapist. He was on my panel. Yes, doing great things. So if you want, I'll connect you with some of them. And then if
Right.
they're not able to do it, maybe
They
they
might know
can work with
someone.
someone. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
It
Yeah.
is, pro bono work is so important. Even
It
me,
is.
my husband and I are looking for a therapist now, and we're probably going
Yes.
to go into the private sector because insurance is terrible, and
It is.
therapists are in such high demand right now.
Hmm.
There's not even availability because
That's
they're
so true.
overwhelmed. They have so many people. Yeah.
And many don't take insurance either, even if you have it. So you have to just pay in cash.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. And honestly, we are so vested in our mental health that absolutely I would put $80 a week
Hmm.
into meeting with someone, especially if that person is going to help me become better and give
Right.
me more capacity mentally. Yeah. Like it's an investment, and of course we want it to be free, but when it can't be, absolutely invest. And when we
So good.
can make it free through these types of connections,
Hmm.
how powerful is that?
Amazing.
That's what I mean. The power of connection, networking, collaborating. Hey, this is my passion. I would love to see if you can provide me a resource, or could you be a
Be
resource for me
amazing.
to do this amazing, great thing? And so many Milts will be 100% up for that.
That'd be amazing. Cause like I reach out to folks out here and they're like, yeah, I'll work with that person for $200 for 30 minutes. And I'm like,
Wow.
and so then we have to do
Yeah.
fundraising. We have to
Yeah.
do fundraising to try to,
Right.
yeah, it's just, I can't
Wow.
even, it's mind boggling to me. But yeah, that'd be amazing.
That,
That's
yeah,
so,
I'll connect all of you so that way you could just start communicating with them,
yeah,
and I'm sure either if
expand the network.
they're able, they will find someone who would be, because that is especially domestic violence, especially with kids. That is a very necessary thing to focus on, and to do pro bono work as a person to help in that situation. I think they'd be
Hmm.
more than happy.
It's so
More than happy.
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And thank you for doing that, honestly. Like these are the things. These are the things, you don't have to do that.
Right.
You're also in a different sector, professionally. And then to do something like this on the side and to pour even more energy into something like this is so incredible. Like this is the power of Milts, what we do, who we are,
Hmm.
you
I
know,
agree.
yeah, that's really phenomenal. I'm so glad we got a chance to reconnect.
So am I.
I got to come visit you. Oh my God. I've been saying I want to
Please
go to
do.
Seattle for like 10 years and I
It's
have
so
not
beautiful.
gone. Yes. What's the best season?
Okay, yeah, definitely choose between like um excuse me, June and like August.
Okay. June and August. Okay. Yes.
The mountains, the water, lots of
Fall.
whale
Okay.
watching. You can see the crabs like going, like the water's so clear. It's just amazing. I
Oh
don't
my
know.
gosh. Whale watching. Yes. And just
Mhm.
the seafood eating. Oh, I would just
I love
gain
seafood.
40 pounds. Yes. And I'll be okay
Yes.
with that. I love
It's
seafood.
actually, you go to the store and you're like, wait, why is that crab like $20 a pound? When I walk out and I just see him like rolling by my feet, like
Right. Wow.
it's so
That's
cool.
so cool. Oh, I'd love to see that. Yeah. I love that the ocean life is so vast out
It
there.
is. It's
That's really
amazing.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you tell me about your family life. Are you married yet?
So I'm married with dog.
Okay.
Um,
You're married with a dog? That's so awesome. How long have you been married?
we've been married for about 10 years, I think.
Okay. How'd you
Almost
guys
10
meet?
years. We met in DC. We're both working for the federal government. So yeah, that was actually at Barnes and Noble. I'm not sure if it still exists, but we met
Yeah,
at a
they do.
bookstore.
Yep. They sure do.
I haven't seen one in a hot minute out here. So
How funny.
um, but yeah, that's where we met. So yeah,
Oh, and you're a fur mom. How cute.
Yeah.
It's
To a
so,
naughty little man, but he's awesome. Havanese, 15
yeah,
pounds of terror, but
yeah. 15, how cute. 2 pounds of hair. That's great.
I wanted him to be a therapy dog to give back to like firefighters and stuff to go like, make them feel good at the firehouse. But he
Aw.
failed his test because he licked the person at the end. He did everything right. And then he was like, lick. And then I was like, no.
How cute.
So now he's like an unofficial therapy
I can't
dog.
help myself. How cute. Oh, can he retake the test?
He's old and stubborn now, but like I was like,
Oh
oh,
my God.
$5,000 down the drain. Like
Oh
he
my
did
God.
everything so well because he's like going to hospitals and working with kids like to make, get them comfortable because he doesn't
So
shed or anything.
awesome.
He had to go in for the kiss. So
That is hilarious. He's like, I get it from my mommy. I can't help
it
this
was the
one
last moment. It was the last part. She was almost like, and you pass. And he was like, yeah.
alone.
So
How funny.
I have a failed therapy dog.
How cute. Oh, that's okay. It wasn't meant to be. That's all right. That's so cool though. You're such a giver. Even your dog is a giver.
Failed me.
So
No, I'm
cute.
kidding.
Wow. So you think you're going to stay in Seattle for a long time while you're with Microsoft, or is your
So
job,
there
when you go in, do you go in physically or are you working from home now? How does that work?
I actually go into the office because I
Okay.
really like human interaction. I love like
Yeah.
getting to know people in the flesh. I think it makes our dynamics of working together a lot better. Our
Yeah.
forensic lab is also there, so like the investigators have to be on site.
Yeah.
If we're working with the FBI or someone, we have to be on site as well. So I just go in. I have my own office, so I love it.
That's so
Um, but yeah, and I do plan on being here for a while. Like there's not humid. Like I came from DC where it was like hot and sticky, and we don't have that humidity out here. So I can actually put on
yeah.
makeup. I can like
Wait.
straighten my hair.
Yes. Yes. I know because the humidity here is not. It's
I don't
not.
have swamp, but like I
Yes,
remember that, all
exactly.
of that.
Oh, I can't. I'm actually like enjoying the winter now because if it's hot again, I just need to be in the water. Like if I'm not in the water, then I don't need it. Like, and who can be in the water all day every day? Like, God, yeah. I'm not looking forward to that part again. This past summer we had I took her to the Hummelstown pool every day. So that was good, but now we're looking to move out of Lancaster. I don't know where we're going to end up. So the whole time I'm like, how am I going to be close to water? Like that's all I
Right.
want. Like because this coming summer, I can't do a summer without water here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're on a lake, so and we like to go kayaking and all that stuff. It's so
Nice.
liberating out here. I don't know. I really
Yeah.
love it. So I'll probably be out here for a while. And no state income tax.
Rain
So
a
here we
lot?
go.
Yes, that's so important. Does it rain a lot or is that like a myth?
I call it avian mist. And
Okay.
so it does not rain a lot. You will have some overcast, but it's like more of a mist, which actually keeps my skin
Okay.
nice and dewy, if you will. So I don't have much of we don't have like the hardcore East Coast downpours,
Yeah.
like where you can
Okay.
smell it coming and then
Yes.
you got to haul butt to your car. Like we don't have,
Yeah. Okay.
we just
Yeah.
have like that, like I call it
Lots of
avian mist.
rain. That's nice. That's
Mhm.
kind of like Ireland. I
Yeah.
had a cousin who lived in Ireland and that's how it was. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
I like that. I've
Yeah.
always loved that weather. Yeah.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How cool. So do you think you and your husband are planning for kids or do you think you're not going to have kids or what do you feel with that?
So we're probably not going to have kids.
Yeah.
Um, Mostly because I gotta give back and I feel like I already have a bucket of crabs. Those are my friends who take a
Yeah.
lot of my time.
Yeah.
And they also they have their kids who they just drop off and or
Yeah.
dogs. So I feel like I'm good. Um
That's cool.
Definitely love kids, but I have enough that get dropped off here to include my
Yes.
friends. So
It is. It's such a responsibility outside of the actual responsibilities. It is a mental, like it takes so much mental
Mhm.
capacity once you become a parent. I actually never wanted kids, and that was a big reason. I wanted to be very selfish. Like I was just like,
Mhm.
I just already know what it's going to be like having to worry about another human for the rest of my
Yeah.
life. So I've always been like, nope, I want to be selfish. I want to live my whole life just thinking about me. And then, Zamina came because my husband's an only child. So, the guilt trip of him being an only child and not continuing his generation, all
Oh
of
yeah.
that. So eventually, you know, we became parents, but it is such, I have to say, it takes so much mental capacity. So I don't envy
Seems like
you.
it.
I'll say that. I don't envy you. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've definitely had kids dropped off though,
Yeah,
because like
that's great. And
things
you're doing so
happen.
much for them and for all the other kids in the world, whatever you think you're doing professionally. Yeah, yeah. That's what I always told Chris. I'm like, you know, we could just do so much for other kids. Why add to the mix, you know? But I get it. I wouldn't change it for the world. Zameen is amazing. She's made me a different person, which I probably needed that. I think sometimes when God gives us parenthood, it's because he's like, I want you to be this way, and this is the only thing that's
Yeah.
going to get you to be a little bit more. Because I was more reckless with my life, I think, more like live on a limb kind of thing, you know.
Mhm.
Parenthood really made me calm down, like really take
I
life,
love that.
yeah, more important, kind of,
Yeah,
yeah. And I think I needed that. So
it's
yeah,
beautiful.
pretty cool. Yeah. So thank you so much again, girl. This was so awesome. I learned so much, and I have still so much to learn from everything it is that you're doing. It's
Oh,
so
yeah.
great. Yeah. And I can't wait to share your story with other people, because I'm sure people still don't know, you know, the capacity that you have and everything you're doing. And it's inspiring. You know, people see the stuff you're doing, all the pro bono work, all the mental health things that you still want to give to, and then that inspires them to be like, I'm not doing enough. I could be doing more. And that's what
Yeah.
it is. Like, that's what this
Yeah.
whole purpose is of this podcast, of being a mill. It's to inspire, so we get more movement of like you said, positivity into
Yeah, I
the
hope
world.
so. It's
Yeah.
just so nice catching up. I agree.
Yes, yeah, it really was. Now, for sure, between June and August, I'm coming to Seattle.
Let
You
me
gotta
know if you
show me
do.
around. Yes, yes. Go
It's
eat
so beautiful here.
food. Yes, I can't wait. I have to stop saying it and just do it.
Yeah.
This next year, like January and on, I do plan on doing a lot of traveling, actually. At
That'd be
least within the
amazing.
States. Yeah, because I
Yeah,
have a lot of people to see. So yeah, definitely count on it between June
just
and
hit me
August.
up.
Yes.
Definitely.
Before I let you go, is there anything that you want people to know? Any social media platforms, anything you want them to visit, websites, anything like that that will help promote you and what it is that you're doing?
Legalhope.org is the pro bono site that the pro bono organization I work with. So definitely if they can help there, that'd be fantastic. I'm on LinkedIn if everyone wants to connect. Like I love LinkedIn for everything. I get like inspirational, like little newsletters on there from folks and lots of nice tips for career.
Yes.
If you want to be an entrepreneur, that's how you get to know people, connect and stay connected and see what they're doing in life as well. So definitely I'm on LinkedIn if anyone wants to connect.
And what's your name on LinkedIn? Is it Mia?
That's a great question.
Okay.
Let me see.
Yeah,
I
because
have it.
I think I have you on LinkedIn. I think you
It's
just
Maria Mia.
Maria Mia. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Just Maria Mia?
Yeah. Well, it's like that linkedin.com/Maria Mia. But
Maria Mia.
I
I
could
love
also,
when you say
I'll
it.
drop it in the chat.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, perfect. Yes. Because I'm gonna put that once I do your episode post, I'm gonna put everything on there. And I'll also put legalhope.org.
Yeah, I'll find it for sure. I would love that.
Yes. And then I'm going to connect you with some other Milts in the mental health field so that you guys can start to talk and collaborate.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what comes of that.
Yeah. Even if it's just compiling a list of like free resources for folks, right? Like, hey, maybe I can't help you, but here's a list of people who can, or the suicide phone number or whatever it is. So
that's it. That's it. That's all it takes is just a little bit, just a
yeah.
little bit, just a little referral, just a little connection, a little network. You never know who's you're going to meet that could eventually start to create more of what you're
I
looking
agree.
for. Yeah. Yeah.
100%.
Again, thank you so much. I cannot wait.
Thank you.
Again, yes. And say bye to everybody.
Same. Bye. Thank you so much. Ciao.
Bye.